Hello my loves and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and I'm attempting to film a reading vlog, but we're already off to a bit of a rocky start. I forgot to press record. I was chatting away, getting excited about everything, and looked up, realised I haven't even been recording. It's a time, but we're going to try. Whether this vlog turns into anything good, well, we're going to find out. But I am really excited about the books that I'm going to be reading. So let me tell you, now that I'm actually recording, what it is I'm going to be reading. There are actually two new releases and I have been so excited for the first one. It's the one I'm going to start today, and that is The Last Contract of Isako by Fronda Lee. I'm so excited for this book. So Fronda Lee wrote the Greenbone Saga, which is an amazing urban fantasy trilogy, and I devoured it. So I was actually doing it for a reading challenge. I did a whole vlog on it where I read the trilogy inside 1 week, and oh, was that hard? Yes, because it was so many pages, but it was so good. Like the way the world building was done and the way that the plot line didn't affect just this little corner of what was happening, but actually the entire world. Like we were seeing the effects on a global scale, and then the character work was so well done that I was in floods of tears by the end of the last book. So yeah, fantastic. I really enjoyed it. So as soon as I heard Fronda Lee was coming out with a new book, I knew I had to be reading it. And what's amazing is this is also the book club pick for Discord for the month. So if you want to join in, feel free. But I can't wait. I can't wait to read this. I can't wait to discuss it with everyone. I can't wait to tell you my reactions and things. Like, I am so excited. I honestly think this is going to be at minimum a 4-star read. Okay, pardon me. Honestly, slightly concerned that I have hyped it up so high in my head that what if it doesn't reach that? But I do have complete faith in Fronda Lee's writing, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. Like, I genuinely think I'm going to love this book. I also can't tell you what it's about though, because I saw it was by Fronda Lee and that was all I needed to know. So I haven't actually read a synopsis. I think maybe I did when I did the anticipated releases video. That was a few months ago. So maybe I did then, but it was long enough that I haven't retained any information from it. So I think we're just following someone that was previously retired, maybe? I'm not sure, but I'm very excited. The next book that I'm going to be reading is The Poet Empress by Shen Tao. I think that's how you pronounce the name. And this is another new release, one that's actually slightly outside my comfort zone because the magic in this world is based on poetry. And so I'm expecting quite a bit of poetry within this book. And I'll be honest, poetry is something that I struggle with. It's not something that I can connect to very easily. Some here and there I have genuinely very much enjoyed, but I do find it a bit more difficult to connect to a poem compared to a book. But I'm really intrigued to try, one, to get outside my comfort zone, and also I do like the sound of this. We've got our main character who ends up being a concubine, and the person that she's a concubine for, I think it's the prince, he's really, really bad. It's not great, and so she's going to do something forbidden for women, which is the poetry. Only men are allowed to do this side of the magic, and we're going to see her and her struggles against that, I think. And I just think it's going to be brilliant. I'm really intrigued. This is also a buddy read over on Discord. It was actually up for vote for the book club pick for the month of July. It didn't win, but enough of us were still interested in reading it that we decided to do an additional buddy read for the month. Without that, I think this is a book that I would have gone, oh, that's interesting, I would like to read, and then honestly never got round to. Like, it happens all the time. There are so many books to get to that it's hard to get round to reading everything. So I'm really pleased that we've got this extra push, one, for the video, and also the buddy read in Discord. So with those two things, I'm definitely going to be reading this book, and I do think this could be an unexpected, amazing book. So I have high hopes for both of these that I'm going to be reading. I have a stretch goal for this video. Whether I achieve it or not, I'm not sure, but let me grab the book. It is The Grace of Kings. This is another buddy read over on Discord. This is basically a Discord reading vlog, but we're doing a series read of the Dandelion Dynasty, and I'm really excited for this. So we initially read this all together together as a book club pick back in, was it 2023? I mentioned it in the last video. I have been wanting to carry on with the series, but also knew that I needed a push to actually carry on. And so I suggested in Discord, you know, would anyone be interested in buddy reading this with me? And actually quite a few people were. So we're going to be doing that. We're doing it bi-monthly though, because they're chunky books. So the first book, we've got July and August to read the book, which is why I'm saying I'm not sure if I'm going to get to it. We'll see. I don't want to put too much pressure on myself and then get burnt out real quick from filming vlogs again. That is not what I want to do. I really want to enjoy my reads. So this is a hope. At the very least, I want to start this in July. I don't have to finish it in July, but I would like to at least start it. It's just whether it actually happens in this video or not. I've got no idea how long this vlog is going to go on for. We're just going to see how it is. I am very much trying not to overplan my videos. I think part of what caused my burnout, which to be fair, I haven't even spoken about it. So we'll go on a slight tangent. Sorry, if you're new here, hi. I ramble for England, like I genuinely do just go off on weird tangents, but the burnout, it was because I did too much. I did way too much. I was doing so many videos because I'm lucky. I'm in a position where my current job outside of YouTube, like YouTube is not my job. I'm very lucky where I have a lot of time. I was like, oh my God, amazing. I can put so much more effort into YouTube and give you so many videos because I did. I had stacks of ideas and I was so excited to film them all. I just didn't think about the fact that I need a bit of downtime as well. And I had just completely burnt myself out with the amount that I was doing. And then I was like, well, I can't really take a break. You know, I've got Patreon, I'm doing all these other things, and I need to make sure I keep putting out content. You know, I've been doing twice a week for the last like 5 and a bit years. I can't change that. Then I did change because it was just too much, but at that point it was too late. I should have stopped when I first started feeling a little bit like, oh my God, I can't keep up, but I didn't because I am an overachiever and that backfired on me this time. So I'm really trying that this time I don't have a schedule. I'm just going to upload when I've got a video for you. And like I say, we're going to aim for about 2 to 4 videos a month is what I said in the last video. It's also like I put out an announcement on Discord and stuff. That's what I'm going to aim for. If we go above, amazing. If we don't, that's also fine. Like I'm really trying to be a lot more kind of nice to myself and not be so anal about it, but we'll see, because I have very much a personality that is like, but we have to have a plan and you have to stick to the schedule and you have to do. We're going to try relax. So yeah, whether this happens or not in this video, I don't know, but that is not the goal. The goal is the previous 2 books and some manga. I have really been enjoying breaking up all of my reads with manga. It has been so much fun to do. I don't always read a volume a day, but lately I have been because I've been reading Apothecary Diaries. I'm now up to volume 9. So my plan today is to read this one. And then what I do is I then watch the anime episodes that correlate to the manga. It's been working out that there's about 3 episodes of the anime to each volume, which has been really fun to do. Can you tell I'm a bit obsessed with Apothecary Diaries? So that is the plan for today. And then I can't continue. I can't continue what I've been doing because I only own up to volume 9 and I can't buy any books at the minute. I've got to wait until the end of the month. We're going to see what I end up choosing after this. It will probably be another series. I've definitely got quite a few for me to work through on my shelves. So we'll do that. Whether it's going to be a volume a day, I don't know. That is what I've been doing at the minute. I've been enjoying it, but if I get really engrossed in the books that I'm reading, I may not pick up another manga volume. We will see. Oh, Hermione has come to say hi. It has been a while. I think she's missed the filming as well because the minute I was getting this camera out, she was very intrigued. That is what this video is going to be. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for sticking with the rambly intro as always. But yes, you'll have to let me know if you've read either of the books that I'm planning to read for this video, or just what have you been up to. Oh, I think it's time to go. To be fair, I do need to get ready for work, so I will see you when I have started the books. Okay, I will put you down. But yeah, I do actually need to get ready for work, as always, so I will catch up with you when I've started the last contract of Isako, and honestly, I'm expecting amazing things. So yeah, I hope you're doing amazingly well. I don't know how to end this bit. I've kind of forgotten what I did. I feel like I used to be like, how do I end these snippets? every single time and then just kind of ramble a little bit more because that's just what I do. But I'm gonna go. I'll catch up with you soon. Yesterday was an amazing day for books. The reading was brilliant, and I also went to my local library for the first time in quite a few months. I decided that along with me getting back into YouTube, I also really want to start supporting my local library more. I mean, for me, I've got zero excuse. The library is across the road from me at work, so yesterday I spent my lunch break in the library. It was absolutely wonderful, and it was actually Gavin, his recent video where he did snake across his library's shelves, and I loved it. I thought it was great. It was a great concept. And also he just made this point of, even if you don't read the books, you're still showing demand for your library. And I was always hesitant about taking books out because, I mean, I've got loads of books on my TBR, and I was like, what if I never get round to them? What if somebody else is waiting for it? But at this other side of that, it is showing demand for your local library. And that's something we really need to support because, you know, cutbacks, things like that, libraries get hit really hard with that. So yeah, I've decided that I want to go there at least once every 3 weeks because I can take books out for 3 weeks. Go, have a peruse, take out 1 or 2 books, maybe I'll get round to them, maybe I won't. But I really lucked out yesterday. Not only did they have loads of books that I'm really interested in reading, so I took loads of pictures of the different titles that they had, but they also had The Poet Empress, which I'm so excited about because, as we know, this is one of the books I'm going to be reading this week. And initially I was going to be picking this up as an ebook. I'm so pleased that instead I support my local library with it. It saves me money on the ebook. It's just a win all round. I am so excited about this. So that was an amazing find. I can't wait to start this one. And then there was also another anticipated new release, which is Wolfworm by T. Kingfisher. Now, if you don't know, I love T. Kingfisher. I actually have a shelf dedicated to their books just here. Kind of can't see it, it's a little bit out of shot, but I love their works so much. And this one I was a little bit scared of because I've heard Danny didn't really love this one, but then a few people in Discord have really enjoyed it. So I'm intrigued. I really want to see if I'm going to love this one because I do really like T. Kingfisher works. Like, they've always, I don't know, but there's something about the writing that just really works for me. So I'm very excited. I don't know anything about this one. I've done the same like I did with the new Frondelee book. I trust the author, so I don't read the synopsis. But I'm also really excited to start it, and I'm kind of tempted to start it now, like in this video, and turn this into reading new releases. Like Last Contract of Isako and these two have all been published this year, and that's what shocked me even more, is I wasn't expecting my library to have books that have been released this year, at least not yet, maybe towards the end of the year. But like the fact that they've got them in hardback, I was shooketh. I am so excited about it. So you can guarantee I'm going to be going back there. Once I finish these, obviously I'll return them and then I will pick out some more. And that is what I'm going to keep doing. There will be times when I don't get round to reading the books, but I am still showing support, and that is the main thing. I do think I am going to start Wolfworm. Honestly, I was actually going to start it last night, but it ended up being a slightly busier evening than expected, so I didn't get round to reading anything, but I think I'm going to have to, because I'm so excited for this one. So I think that's what I'm going to do, especially because yesterday I did read Apothecary Diaries Volume 9, absolutely loved it. Honestly, all of these have been 5 stars. I genuinely enjoy it. And while there is nothing new in here yet, because I watched season 1 and season 2 of the anime before getting into the manga, so this is all story that I know, I am still really enjoying it. I also then watched the 3 episodes that link to this manga volume, and I'm starting to see differences between the manga volumes and the anime, which is really interesting to me. I think they're just pulling things forward slightly, and they're kind of adjusting who says what a little bit. So I'm really intrigued to see how that continues to develop, except I can't, because I don't have volume 10, and I can't buy it yet. So that's one thing I will say, is my local library doesn't have manga. They have some graphic novels for teens, but they don't have any manga or anything, so that's not something I can get from my local library, but we have a cat. I was going to start reading a new manga, so like I've got quite a few series to make my way through. Pretty sure I've already said all of this, but I kind of decided, you know what, actually I want a couple of days break, because the last like 4 days I've been reading a volume of the Apothecary Diaries a day, which has been amazing. But I think it's good, rather than going straight into a new manga series, to take a bit of a break from it. So I think I'm going to replace the time I would have spent on a manga reading Wolfworm. So I tend to find that manga volumes take me anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour to read. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read about 45 minutes to an hour of this a day, and I will slowly get through it. I do really enjoy breaking up my reads like that. Did start The Last Contract of Isako. I don't know the exact page number because I'm reading this as an ebook version, but I am in the middle of chapter 7. I didn't intentionally mean to stop in the middle of a chapter, but as I said, the evening got busy. I'm loving this book. I'm really liking it. I think it's really interesting. I will say there is no hand-holding. You are thrown straight into the thick of it. I feel like we are slowly going to get everything explained to us as we go, but from the start, we know that humanity has left Earth behind, and instead we're on a planet that is inhospitable. You know, do you ever have words where you can say it in your mind, but trying to say it out loud is like an Olympic sport? Because that happens to me a lot. I think it's because I would read way more than I talk to people, so me pronouncing words sometimes goes out the window. Anyway, the point is, the environment's not great to be in. There's very little oxygen, and the temperature is like minus 40 degrees, which is insane. It's not livable. And so what I imagine is they've got like this dome with the city inside it, and that you're able to live in. And we meet Isako. Isako is a contractor, but she is an elite contractor, top of the top. Not only is she a bodyguard to the person that owns her contract, but she is also a spy master. So she has different spies. She can lead out espionage and stuff into other people to get... let me start again. So where we're on this planet that isn't very livable, science is obviously taken a massive step forward because they're trying to make it habitable. And you've got different factions of science on how they think they should go about doing this. One is like, we want to terraform the planet. It's taken centuries and they've still not made much progress. Then we've got others that are like, no, we need to leave this planet behind and go find a different planet. Isako is a contractor to one of those directors. And so she leads different like espionage things into the other factions to constantly like discredit them and stuff so that they can get the better contracts and things. I find that really interesting. I like how she is not only extremely good at fighting, but also responsible for having an incredible knowledge base of the science and things, because sometimes she might be called upon to get a board meeting presentation ready, and other times she might be called upon to actually go out and kill somebody. All different aspects. I think it's great. We first meet Isako as she is having to hand out resignation letters because there was this big war between the different science factions and their one lost. And as a result, there's been this merger, but of course there's been mass layoffs. As we meet them going through this, you realise that there is something not quite right about being resigned, because it is invoking some serious emotional responses, which, yes, being resigned is like a stressful thing anyway, but not to the degree where somebody's actually going out of their way to try and kill Isako over it, which ends up in their death instead. This all happens in chapter 1, by the way. And so you realise there must be something going on. And I was thinking, you know, maybe it's just really extreme, like there are no other jobs and things. You lose your job, that's it. You're kind of like having to scrape by. No, it's a lot worse. It's a lot worse. And when I found out, I was like, oh. And the thing is, I should have seen this happening because it's actually quite a common thing. I feel like I have read it in other books where this sort of thing happens, and it's just like, damn. But the way it is seen in society is that, you know, you're giving way to the next generation of people. So this is a good thing to do. It's a natural thing to do, which I'm going to say, no, it's not. But it is really interesting. And you, through Isako's perspective, you get to see both ends of the societal spectrum. So you get to see the elites, because obviously they're the ones that can buy her contract, which is ridiculously expensive. And you see how they use their wealth for different things. And some of it is really wasteful, as you would expect with that. You also see how science has evolved, that they can live for up to like 150 years now, but only if you've got the money to do so. And then you see the other end of the spectrum where you're seeing what they call wage folk, who are just scraping by, just trying to survive. And I really like Isako as a character because she's kind of in the middle. She has a really good wage because she is the best of the best, but she also interacts with people on both ends of the spectrum, and she has her own daughter. So I really like that aspect as well, because you get to see how society has formed in that way. Like, how do we raise children in this world? And I really like how they do it. So you've got the fact that Isako is her daughter's biological mother, but because of the demands of her job, she's not been able to actually like raise her in that way. And so what this society does is acknowledges that people in these positions, they aren't able to raise children because their job comes first. And so you have kith parents who come, it's like a communal upbringing of children, and they're the ones that help nurture and raise the children, and they get paid through a percentage of the parents' wages. And it just was really interesting to think about how that all works. And you also see a lot of Isako's regrets that she's not been able to be there for a lot of her daughter's just different events in life growing up. Her daughter's now 19, I think it is. And another thing that I like is that Isako is an older main character. So Isako by our years is 53, by the New World's years she's 50. And she talks about the fact that, her knees are really achy and different things. And she's like, I'm coming to the end of my usefulness really. What can I physically keep up with? And I just really like her as a character. I think she is so down to earth, ironically, not technically earth, but she's so honest about things. She's very blunt, but she also really cares about her daughter. She's worried about telling her certain things. She's also jealous of the kith parents because they've been there for her daughter in a way that she's never been able to do. And as a result, her daughter's got a closer relationship with them than with her. And, you're just seeing all these aspects of her, and I really like it. And obviously the plot is going to start picking up from where I've left it. I think those first 6 chapters gave us a really interesting overview of how the society is structured, what is happening on this planet, just Isako in general, her priorities in life, how she approaches things, was really interesting to read. From here, I think, like I said, the plot's going to pick up. We've got a point where Isako, her contractor, the person that had her contract, I should say, has now passed it over to the person that won in this war. Except that's not allowed to happen. So the agency where kind of handles contracts for people like Isako, they only allowed 1 elite contractor per person. And now we're in this situation where this lady has 2 contractors. And it's like a special circumstance because it's been handed over, it's been transferred. So what do we do in this situation? And so the agency has granted 30 days leniency for them to work out which contractor am I going to keep on. Isako's immediately like, excuse me, I don't want this. I was with this dude. I didn't agree to be transferred to you. But she cannot resign from her position without the authority of the person that has her contract. And considering it's been transferred over, they've turned around and said, okay, well, how about you have to stay with me for that duration of the 30 days. And during that duration, you're going to do things that I can't really get my current contractor to do. And so we're going to see a lot of espionage, and I'm very intrigued. I think it's going to be really, really good. So yeah, I love the concept of this. I think it is so good. I truly cannot wait to read more of it. But I do like breaking up my reads because yeah, I have a lot of time to read. I'm very lucky, but I don't want to sit and just read one book for like 5 hours in a row. I do like to break it up with other things, which is why I think it would be really good to break up with Wolfworm, because this is going to be completely different to what I'm currently reading, which is, you know, sci-fi and everything, to then have this one, which I think is more horror-based. And I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a good pairing. We're going to see how it goes. I didn't really talk about what Apothecary Diaries is about, but I did mention it in my last video that I just did. But to give a different summary of what this is, think Sherlock Holmes, but we're talking about a young girl in the inner court, and it's like historical setting, and it's really fun. And she's an apothecary. Not a detective, but basically is a detective from the way that she solves things, and in each volume you get little mini mysteries, but there is an overarching plot line that is being connected in the background, which I really, really enjoy. So that is all the reading updates. I think it was a brilliant time. Like, it was such a good bookish day, being able to read different books, go to the library. Like, it was such a good time, but I do have work yet again, so I am going to leave you, get myself ready for work, and then I'm going to read some more of my books, because I'm just having a fantastic time. Especially this year, there are some amazing new releases out. Like, there's some books that I haven't even got around to reading that I really want to read, like the new Joanna Van Veen book, is it Bone of My Bone? Oh man, I really want to read that book so much, but I have been like, because I've been buying so much manga and anime, I've been very strict in how much other books I'm allowed to buy. I mean, it's great, I've actually managed with that, but it does mean that I really want to go on a big buy-in spree to get all of the books that I just haven't purchased yet, and of course more manga and anime, because, you know, I'm obsessed. I really do. I feel like it's coming. I feel like I'm really trying to wait until the end of the month, because, you know, bills take priority, and then I feel like we might go on a bit of a book buy and splurge, which we shouldn't. We should really rein it in. But I think what I'll do is I'll keep popping to my library every so often, taking pictures of different books that they have in there, knowing that if they've got them there, I don't need to purchase a copy of the book because I can get it from my library, which is much better. So I will do that. And then by the end of the month, if I haven't seen certain books that I know I definitely want, like Bone of My Bone, then I will go out and purchase a copy of that book. To be fair, for that one I might anyway, because Joanna Van Veen is one of my favourite authors. Just like if I really like Wolfworm, eventually I will probably purchase a copy of that book, because again, I have a tea kingfisher shelf. Like, there are certain authors that I genuinely love, so I would happily go out and purchase a physical copy of the book if I really enjoy it. But other things, like the fact that it's not here. I did a rearrange of my shelves and I'm still not used to it. Where did it go? I found it. Empire of the Vampire. I've been thinking about rereading this book and continuing on with the series, because I did really love this book. Like, I think it was fantastic. And so I was thinking about purchasing the second book, but they have it in the library. So I'm kind of tempted to just read it from the library. I mean, I annotated this one. I had so much fun with it. So if I really love it and decide that I want to annotate, then I would go out and buy a physical copy. But I think it's worth reading it from the library first to decide, do I need a physical copy of a book? Anyway, that's a whole tangent. I'm sure we didn't really need that, but there are so many. I'm just in such a big reading mood. I really think this break away from everything really helped get me back into a mood to just read everything, absolutely everything. Anyway, I said I was going to go and I'm still waffling on. I guess some things never change, but I will catch up with you when I have read some more. I am up to chapter 26 of The Last Contract of Isako, and I'm really enjoying it. Where I've left it at the end of chapter 25, I feel like was a really good stopping point, because we had the initial introduction to like the world, what's going on, the way society is structured, and then we have Isako starting her investigation into her final contract. This brings her into contact with a previous colleague, so like somebody that she used to work with a lot, and they just kind of slowly lost contact over time. And it was really interesting to see them interacting together. It's done a whole different side of Isuko that we hadn't seen. We get them reminiscing about their previous escapades that they were a part of, and it was really nice to see, but it comes to quite a nice close at the same time. So at the end of chapter 25, Isuko has decided to do something that her old colleague is like, I can't follow you down this path. Where you're going is a one-way street and there is no return, and I'm not going to be a part of it. And so I'm really intrigued to see where it's going to go. Currently, this is feeling like a 4-star read, but I feel like it has potential to reach 5 stars. Depending on how it goes with this latter half of the book, I feel like we're going to get a lot of reveals, a lot of twists and turns, and things that would just make me go, wow, that was really well done. So I think I've got high hopes. I've really got high hopes that it can definitely move up from a 4-star read. I like how this is feeling like a sci-fi mystery thriller, and how this has become so personal to Isuko. Isuko has always prided herself on following the code, on not making these jobs personal, but just doing the best that she can to provide the service that the client is paying for. Except this time, that's not the case. This time it is personal. This time she is abusing her position to get into places, to confront people, and she's realizing that she's making mistakes left, right, and center because of this, because she's allowed it to get personal. But at the same time, it is personal. And I like seeing Isuko slowly start to change how she views things, especially because this is her last contract. And so she's having a bit more freedom. She's a bit like, well, what is realistically the worst that they can do? This is my last contract anyway. So she starts taking liberties and stuff. And it's really interesting to see. It also starts slowly opening up her eyes to realizing that things, maybe they aren't quite right. Maybe the way it's always been is not the way it should be. We also interact with some freelancers. So freelancers are people that aren't hired under a contract, like they don't have an official job. You have to have a badge to have a job. They are badgeless, and they are seen as a drain on society. They are not providing to society. It's a waste of resources. Like, they're really looked down upon, but they're just people that are just living outside the system. And Isuko is interacting with them and realizing that maybe what she thought, maybe it's not, like, it's being challenged, and like how they have their children with them, and she thinks this is terrible and really selfish because children should be brought up in a kith environment with all the people around them to support them. And then the other person pushes back and goes, no, children should be with their parents. And it's a really interesting, like, eye-opening experience for Isuko, because she doesn't agree, but it just gets her thinking about things in a different way. And I like that. I like that we're seeing that slow development. And I feel like as we go through the book, Isuko is going to be interacting with more and more things that is going to challenge the way things have always been. So I'm really intrigued. I really think this has potential to be really, really good, especially in that second half. I mean, this, especially yesterday, I was just flying through it. I was constantly flicking the pages. I was really engrossed, didn't want to put the book down. It wasn't until the end of chapter 25 that felt like a natural stopping point in the story that I actually was like, okay, let me put the book down. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, really looking forward to seeing where it goes. Can't really do spoilers. I've done a bit more spoilery thoughts on Discord because you can put the spoiler tag there. So if you're interested, you can always have a look there. But I'm looking forward to seeing where this story is going to go and what exactly is going to happen, considering that she has been told twice by people that the direction she's taking, they can no longer support and will not be a part of. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see where that's going to go. So we'll be continuing that today. I did also start Wolfworm. This has also turned into another buddy read over on Discord. There was enough of us that were kind of intrigued. Well, it was Morgan. Morgan had also taken it out from the library, and I was like, look, it's really short notice, but do you want to buddy read this? And then we decided to do it as like an open public buddy read to everyone in Discord, because there's been a couple of people that have already read it and a few people that want to read it that then can, when they get their copy, can chat later on and so it's just fun. Okay, I think being able to chat to people about the books that you're reading is always good fun. But I'm up to chapter 4, page 42, and I'm really liking this one. So it's set in 1899. We do have a author's note right at the start telling us about how the Lumbee people during 1899, the state of North Carolina referred to them as Croatian, but in 1952 the tribe voted to adopt the name Lumbee, and so T. Kingfisher is going with that name, and I liked that. I thought that was really good. But in the first 3 chapters we are following Sonia, and Sonia arrives at this little station in the middle of nowhere, seemingly, and she has got a job with a doctor to become his illustrator. Now, she has had previous experience doing this. She used to illustrate for her father's botanical findings. The more recent job she's had is working in a girls' school as a teacher, but her passion is art. That's what she teaches the girls, and she loved doing the botanical illustrations for her father. The doctor is actually a scientist of insects, so she's going to be drawing and painting lots of insects, which she's not totally adverse to, but you know, it's a little bit outside her usual. She is also a chronic overthinker. It was really fun to see all of her thoughts about how, oh my god, he hasn't turned up to meet me, he doesn't want me, and just constantly overthinking everything, which is so relatable because I am also a chronic overthinker, so yeah, really related to that. But we have her eventually get into the doctor's house, and how she gets there is somebody gives her a lift in a carriage because they say she cannot walk in the woods at night. Like, you can't do it. The minute it goes dark, you shouldn't be entering those woods. And he says it's because of the devil. Later on, she's interacting with the serving girl Sally in the house, and she says it's because there are blood thieves in the woods. And it's really intriguing because it's only been mentioned a couple times. Sonia just kind of shrugs it off. She doesn't really believe in those sort of things. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that grows. What is actually in the woods? I'm really intrigued by. But otherwise, the rest of the chapters has just been her kind of settling into the house, getting to know everyone there, Mr. and Mrs. Kent, who I really like, the doctor interacting with him for the first time, and obviously Sally as well. And I like it. I think it's a really nice setting. I like the characters so far. I'm really intrigued. There's been enough like little things here and there that I'm intrigued to see where it's going to build to. There are dead bugs everywhere, which is kind of gross. I also like Sonia as a character in general. Again, because of that overthinking, I find it really easy to relate to her, but also she has like this little mini rant about watercolours, and I really liked that because I also love working with watercolours, and the rant was about how it's so easy to muddy the colours and overwork it, and it's so relatable because yeah, it really is. It really is something so easy to do. So I don't know, I just think Sonia for me is a character I can really relate to. I like the way that she looks at things and thinks about what colours would I paint them with and stuff, and I really like that. It just works for me, and I think because I like doing art so much myself, it's an easy way for me to feel connected to the character in the book. But that's it, like I've only read the first 3 chapters, but it just feels good. Like I like it. I like the writing style, as I knew I was going to. I'm intrigued to see where this is going to go. So yeah, it's off to a good start. Like I don't have much else to say about it, but I like it. So honestly, great reading week. This has been absolutely amazing. I'm so happy with it. I've got work the next couple of days. That's it. Nothing much is really happening at the minute, but yeah, I'm just having a really good time. It's been really nice to get back into a love for reading, which is so good. But I also feel like I'm balancing it better this time. So like the fact that I say I like art, during my break, I did get back into doing a lot of artwork again, which I really enjoyed, and just balancing the different hobbies that I have, because I've got loads. But when I was really just like overworking myself with YouTube, I wasn't giving myself time for any of my other hobbies, which was such a shame because I have so many. So yeah, it was really nice to get back into, which, speaking of hobbies, I've started watching The Witch Hat Atelier and it's so cute. I know a lot of you recommended it to me, but my sister finally gave me the final push to actually watch it and it's really good. I do think I'm going to pick up the manga, which again is something that you've all recommended to me, and I think I really will, especially because my sister says the season ends at like a cliffhanger and she's really quite salty about it. So I think I will pick up the manga for that as well. I really like it. It's just really cute and wholesome. Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see where it goes from here, so I'm looking forward to that. But that won't be in this video. I don't have the manga for it, but man, I really want to go shopping for books. Like, I'm not gonna lie, there's so much that I want to get. It's just, anyway, right, I need to get myself ready for work as always, so I'm gonna leave it there. But it's great. I'm enjoying both books a lot, and I like how they're both very different. One's like sci-fi mystery thriller, and this one's like historical horror, but we haven't reached those horror elements yet. A couple of unsettling things here and there that can grow, but yeah, it's a good mix, I think, between the two. Anyway, right, I'm still rambling. I'm gonna go. Good morning. I have finished the last contract of Isako and I am landed on a 4 stars. Not quite the 5-star that I was hoping for. The second half of the book I did like, although it was hilarious because I ended chapter 25 telling you how it was a really natural stopping point, all of this. If I had just gone on literally one, I think maybe 2 chapters, we would have moved on to part 2, which would have been a better stopping point. But part 2, we follow a different perspective, and I did like what it was giving us. It was giving us a lot of insight into the events that were happening on the lead up to Isako having this last contract. It really showed us just a different view on this world, a different view on what it is to be a contractor, to the things that they're forced to do, and how it's just like, well, company code says we have to do this. And it's just so wrong, just seeing how far they're pushing themselves, how much their health is affected by these things, and how that's just seen as the way of things. And so it was really quite an eye-opening experience. There is a lot of things that happen that are just morally so wrong, but it was interesting to read about. But I do prefer Isako's perspective. I think Isako is a character that I could just connect to that a little bit more. I really appreciated her quite blunt outlook to things, but by the end of the book we do see Isako change. We start to see her character growth and it was good. I think the very final bit was a much needed uplifting moment. But I will say the book, when I'd finished it, it did remind me a little bit of how I felt with the First Law trilogy, and how it's very cyclical, and how things can feel very futile because it's all just going to keep happening. That technically the events that happened here didn't matter, didn't change anything. And that is kind of like the way I felt finishing Joe Abercrombie's series, is that cyclical, futile nature of things, that people in power are always going to be corrupt, that these things are always going to just keep happening. So that moment at the end with Isako and just seeing her perspective shift on things was a needed uplifting moment. Like, I think that was... it was good. Otherwise it would have been a very bleak finish, which the whole book is. I mean, it is bleak. It is quite... I'm trying to think of the right wording for it. It's like heavy, I guess. But it was good to read at the same time. Like, I did like it. I don't think it had the same impact on me as the Greenbone Saga, but that is probably because I binge read that trilogy, reading them back to back within such a short amount of time, really connecting to those characters as a result. So I think if this had been longer, if this was a series, I could see myself getting really, really invested. As it is, I would happily reread this one eventually. It just doesn't quite have that 5-star impact that the Greenbone Saga had. But then even when I was reading that one, I was saying that objectively each book is probably like a 4-star read, but it was the reading experience experience of reading them all back to back, really getting engrossed in it and connecting to all those characters, that made it a 5-star experience. So yeah, I'm not mad about this one being a 4 stars. I think it was really good, and I would recommend reading this one, especially if you did like the Greenbone Saga. Definitely give this one a try. Or if you liked that whole cyclical nature of the First Law trilogy and how that kind of ended in that way, then maybe you want to try like this sci-fi, what is currently a standalone, with this espionage and like wars between companies, but it's like wars over company politics and stuff. It's not really like shooting and things. I mean, you do get a bit of that, but that is from the freelancers and like this separate outside bit to what is actually going on. Like, it was just really interesting. I really enjoyed the world. And while some things we never know the answer to, the characters don't know the answer to. So it made sense that we never got it, but there are definitely things that I would love to have been expanded upon, to have been investigated a little bit more, to get to the truth of the matter of things. But at the same time, does it matter? Like, yes, it does matter to know the truth, but it doesn't affect anything. Like, knowing that would not have changed the outcome of any of the things that happened. So it was also a really interesting, like I say, it's that futility, the cycle of power, and how those in power will abuse it. Or not everybody, but a majority of the time that's kind of what happens. And then seeing how everyone's just kind of stuck in this way and how things don't change. And yeah, it was just really interesting. Like, I liked it. It was good, even if it was a little bit bleak. But anyway, I have also been reading more of Wolfworm. I am now up to chapter 9, and this is one that I've just been enjoying reading before bed. Is this a good idea to read before bed? I don't know, maybe not when we get a little bit further into maybe what I'm assuming is going to be some more of the horror moments, but currently this is a really good read before bed. I'm reading about 2 to 3 chapters a day, and I'm enjoying doing that. I think it just, for me, this is just such a comforting read, which it's not meant to be. But at this point, I worked out this is actually book 14 that I have read by T. Kingfisher, and at this point, I do just find T. Kingfisher's writing comforting. I really like their sense of humour that they have throughout all of their books. It really just works with my sense of humour. And the character in this, Sonia, is the sort of character that I really like to read from. So this is just kind of working for me. It really is. Like, I'm enjoying the slow little investigation that Sonia's doing. We've had some hens going missing, and we spent a few chapters with Sonia kind of like investigating why they're going missing, and then she starts having theories about what is happening with them, and honestly, hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Her imagination is absolutely crazy. I thought it was great. So I'm just enjoying this one. It's just a pleasant read at the minute, so I'm giving this one so far 4 stars. I was thinking about comparing this one to other T. Kingfisher works. What would I compare it to? And I think the Twisted Ones and Hollow Places, those two are comparable books to each other, but I don't think it quite works for this one because I feel like you had the horror elements and the sense of unease a little bit quicker than what we're getting in this. Like, this is a slow build up. This reminds me a little bit more of A House of Good Bones, like that sort of build up. Again, it's been a while since I've read all of those books. I have only read each of them once, so keep that in mind with my comparisons. But to me, it feels like this is a historical version of that book in a way. Like, we've both got interest in bugs. Like, I mean, our main character is more of an illustrator for somebody that is the scientist of bugs, whereas in A House of Good Bones, we're actually following a scientist of bugs. I know there is an actual word for it. I can't say it, so we're just going to move on from that. But yeah, so that's, you've got that correlation, and maybe that's where I'm getting it from. But I feel like the slow build up to things, a sense of like just a few things happening here and there that don't quite add up, that reminds me of A House of Good Bones. Like, they remind me of each other, just different historical settings. Or, well, one's more modern day, this one's historical. Anyway, point is, I'm liking it. It's good. I will continue slowly chipping away at this one, and I think it's just been really good. Like, I've liked it, so that's amazing. It's going well. So that does mean I'm going to be starting The Poet Empress today, and I'm really looking forward to this one. I thought we would read the synopsis together because this is a book, it was the synopsis that got me interested, and then as I said, it was because it got put forward as a buddy read on Discord, and I was like, that is the push, I need to read it. But I really like this synopsis, so let's go over it. It says, to kill a monster, she must become one. As the Emperor lays dying, the once great Azelia dynasty plunges towards civil war. While its princes plot for power, a more hidden war to become the next empress occupies the imperial court. Wei Yin, peasant girl turned concubine to the cruel Prince Terran, has already endured unimaginable suffering. Ripped from her family, she has no title, no allies, and no escape. But she does have a secret. In the shadows of the palace, surrounded by enemies, she is learning a skill forbidden to women. Because when words are weapons and poetry holds an ancient magic, the fate of a girl and a nation can both be rewritten. All she has to do is compose the perfect poem, a tale so powerful it can kill any man, even the next emperor. And I just think it's really interesting. So I'm looking forward to this one. Like I say, I think this one could be an unexpected 5-star read. You never know. So yeah, I'm going to be giving this one a try. I don't have loads going on over the next couple of days. I am going to an art exhibit that I'm really excited about. I'll see if I can put in a few clips depending on whether they allow that. But yeah, that's going to be really fun. But honestly, yeah, that's about it. I'm just happy and grateful that this vlog has been going better than I thought it would. Like, I was apprehensive going into it, especially because of how I was feeling towards vlogs at the start of the year. I was very apprehensive. Like, my break, as I've mentioned a few times, was me just binging different danmei. Like, I have read 15 volumes of danmei, but that is split across 3 series. And I was just really focused in on binging stuff. Even my reread of Sarah J. Maas, like, I binged those first 4 books. And so I was a little bit apprehensive that I have spent all my time either just reading manga or sometimes just binging those series and then binging other novels that I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about reading just a few random books here and there and it not be me binging a series and stuff, because that's what I've been really enjoying. And you know what? It's been great. I've really enjoyed it. And I think part of that is because each of the novels that I have been reading, I've been doing buddy reads, and it's been so good. I feel so lucky to have you all over on Discord to give that support, because I was apprehensive about doing all of this, but knowing that I've got you all there, that I've got that support, that we can chat about the books that we're reading and stuff, like, it really does make such a big difference. And so I'm really pleased that I did decide to go ahead with a vlog like this. I was debating whether I should do like an episode of Shop My Shelves, doing the spinner wheel and stuff and just getting random things, but I think getting back into things, having the support of the community, being able to do all these buddy reads and stuff, be able to discuss them at the same time as reading them, has really helped transition me back into everything. So that's been amazing. So I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone over there for joining in with the buddy reads and stuff. Like, it has been so much fun and the exact thing that I needed to get back into all of this. Anyway, I'm gonna keep waffling on because that is what I do, but I have got things to do. So I will catch up with you when I have started The Poet Empress, all my initial thoughts and feelings about it. But yeah, I genuinely have quite high hopes. I genuinely think that everything in this video, nothing is going to be less than a 4-star. And that is such a good feeling. I had a really nice weekend. The art exhibit was really interesting to see. It was super busy and really, really hot, but it was a lot of fun just to see the different artwork, and they had done interactive exhibits of a lot of the artwork as well, which was just really fun, really entertaining. So that was a nice morning, and then I have spent the majority of my weekend doing quite a bit of reading actually, and then also like painting Warhammer figures and stuff. It's been a fun weekend, to be fair. I genuinely have enjoyed it. But let's get into the books. So starting off with The Poet Empress, I'm up to chapter 13, page 67, and this is a lot more brutal than I was expecting. Like, I thought it was going to be, I mean, based on that synopsis of how cruel Prince Terran is, I expected some bits, but I wasn't expecting quite how dark this can get and some of the stuff that our main character is going through. So we are following our main character Wei, and we start off seeing her burying one of her siblings, and she's like, this is the 5th time and it's probably not going to be the last. So straight away you're put into this world that is really quite brutal. Her village is suffering from a famine, everyone is starving, and it's just really hard. And then they get this glimmer of hope when this embassy comes from the palace and says how because the second prince has now been made heir, he needs to fulfill loads of concubines. He needs to get lots of concubines and stuff to continue the bloodline. And Wei sees this as an opportunity for her to become a concubine, to become favoured and be able to send gifts back home to save them from this famine. And so she decides to go ahead with it. And the whole village is really excited. They're all really supportive of this because it is a possible glimmer of hope for this village. She then gets into the palace, like she has to really try for it, really push for it, but she manages to get into there with the hope that the prince is going to choose her as a concubine. And she meets all of these other hopeful concubines and she realizes that they're all fighting against one another. You've got all of these concubines that are really quite horrible to each other. Some are trying to create alliances between others are just backstabbing, but they all kind of shun Wei because she is a rice farmer, whereas these other girls, their fathers have got powerful positions and things like this, so they really don't understand what she is doing there. And then eventually we meet Prince Terran, and yeah, he's awful. She had kind of forgotten or was started to ignore the stories that were being told about Prince Terran. She was just like, I'm gonna almost like turning a blind eye towards it, and then it all comes crashing back into reality that he is as bad as they say, and he chooses her to be his highest concubine, which then puts her in an even worse position because not only is she dealing with Prince Terran, who is torturing her, but she also deals with the contempt from all of the other concubines because how dare she, a lowly rice farmer, be the highest concubine over them. And she's dealing with them doing awful things to her, like trying to poison her. So she is truly alone amidst all of this. Like, she is just completely lost. And yet she still stays true to who she is. So there's this one person which I am hoping becomes a character that she can actually rely on, that she can actually trust, that, you know, she's not going to be completely alone. I feel like that is wishful thinking on my part, but you know, we're hopeful. But it's this eunuch, and he is using her because he wants to grow in position. If he becomes her head eunuch, then as she rises in power, so will he. But it's like a mutual usage of one another, because the thing that she asks for in return, it's forbidden. As we know from the synopsis, she wants to learn to read and she's going to learn how to use this magic system. But he is the only slight person that she can slightly rely on. With this whole episode of the poisoning, he is advising her to make a humiliating, God, my voice is going, but to make a humiliating display of the concubine that attempted to poison her. And she's like, no, I refuse to do this. And he's like, you have to be cruel. If you're not going to be cruel, they will keep being cruel to you until you finally push back. And she's just like, I don't care. I will not change myself for you. I will not change myself just because I'm here in the palace. I am going to do things my way. And honestly, that takes an incredible amount of strength. The amount of stuff that she is going through to then still stand by her morals is, yeah. But yeah, it's brutal. There is a lot of stuff going on. The torture that she's going through is terrible. Like, it's brutal. And I didn't quite expect it to be this brutal. But it makes for very fast reading because you're instantly hooked. The chapters are also really, really short, so it's really easy to get through. So yeah, I think I will easily be able to get through this book. I am really intrigued to see where this storyline is going to go, and I think this is a standalone, so I'm really looking forward to seeing Wei taking control and getting her vengeance, being able to help her village and hopefully put these cruel people into their place. Like, I'm very intrigued to see how it's going to go, but God, is she going through a lot. Like, to be dealing with Prince Terran of a night time, to then be dealing with the wrath of the concubines, because he won't see the other concubines, he will only see her, and they don't know that she's being tortured every night. So it's a horrible situation. So, but I am intrigued to see where this is going to go. But just check your trigger warnings because there's a lot of them in there. And then I have been reading more of Wolfworm. So I'm now up to chapter 13, page 165. And I'm still really enjoying this one. It's just really good. Like, I don't have much more to say without giving spoilers and stuff to the plot. So I'm not really going to talk about that. But it is just everything I've already said, I am still really enjoying. This one is very much a slow build up of that sense of dread. We're getting lots of different stories about different things that add into it, and I still have my theory. I think my theory that I first formulated at the start of the book has stayed pretty solid. There's been a few things here and there to like question it, but I'm pretty content with the idea that I've got. And it seems like the buddy read that we're doing on Discord, we seem to be in agreement that yes, that is our assumption of what is going on. It has been really fun to just buddy read. I mean, all of these has been really fun, as I've already said, so I'm not going to repeat myself. I also hit the back of my head on the thing, like I did, is my clip. Anyway, it's time for me to go. I think I'm rather hungry. I also woke up way later than I thought. It was the postman buzzing on the door that woke us up. Without that, I would have just carried on sleeping. But I do actually have work and I have things to do. So I need to get some of this video edited. I've got, yeah, lots of stuff to do. But you know what? It's been going really well and I'm having a lot of fun. And I'm loving how, so if I was to give this book a rating now, I would honestly say 4 stars currently. And the fact that everything this week has been feeling like a solid 4-star read. Well, apart from my Apothecary manga, which was a 5 stars. It's just been such a good reading week. It has been so good. This was exactly the sort of video I needed to get back into vlogging. And again, I think I've said all of this before. So I'm going to stop repeating myself and I'm going to go have some food. And I will catch up with you when I've read some more. I finished Wolfworm and I'm giving this one 4.25. I really liked it. This was so disgusting. I'm not gonna lie about it. There were 2 particular chapters with 2 particular scenes and I was just like, this is vile. Absolutely not. Yeah, God, wow. But it was great. I think it's a mark of really good writing if you can get that sort of visceral response from your readers. And yeah, it definitely got to me. I think there is a case to be said about how Sonia's behaviour could be really frustrating. Hello. We have a kitty. It's really hot, so she doesn't even want to be picked up, but she's also like wants attention but doesn't. It's too hot. And she's getting bothered over it, which to be fair, I don't blame her. I put out all of this cooling stuff for her, ignores all of it. Will just wander around the house complaining that she is hot. Moving on from that, there is a case to be said about how Sonia, her reaction to what she discovers probably isn't the best. And there was even a moment where I was like, Sonia, girl, pull yourself together and let's do something about the situation. Then I thought about it and I was like, okay, realistically, if I was in that situation, what would I do? And honestly, I'd be running screaming for the hills, so carry on. You know, that's kind of where I was like, actually, this is probably a very, very valid response. It's definitely something that I would probably do. Like, I would not want to deal with this situation. So yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I think for me, it was a really good blend. Like, it had the slow build up of all these little stories that we're hearing and then what actually is going on. And I thought it was great. This really met the expectations that I had. And I will definitely be getting a physical copy. I'm just waiting for it when it comes out in paperback because all of my editions, except one, are all short hardbacks or paperbacks. And it vexes me so much that I have one that's in a big hardback. So will I probably be swapping that one out for a paperback at some point? Yeah, as ridiculous as that sounds, I like it all to match. So really pleased I got this one from the library and now I will wait until it's out in paperback and add it to the collection because yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really good. So very happy with this one. I mean, T. Kingfisher is a solid 4-star author for me. They've had one book which reached 5 stars for me, which was Nettle and Bone, and then a couple that have come really close, which depending on my mood on the day, sometimes I'm like, you know what, yeah, that was definitely a 5-star read. Other times I'm a bit more picky, but generally speaking, I enjoy all of their works, and it's a solid 4-star range for me, which is so good. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. This was gross, vile, but really good. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. You do have to take in mind though that this sort of horror works for me really, really well because I am squeamish around bugs naturally. Like, I don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely fine with them, but if they're coming near me, on me, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I'm a little bit like Misty from, you know, Pokemon in that way, where it's like, I will scream. So yeah, kind of gross. Can't really deal with it. I'm like, you stay there, I'll stay here, and we're fine. So I think because of that, it worked really well for the horror that I quite enjoy. Like, it really worked for me. So anyway, yeah, that was great. I've also made progress with Poet Empress. I am up to chapter 44. Honestly, this is a book that I am just constantly going back to. I am really enjoying my time with it, and I don't know, I think I can see some criticisms because we start getting backstory to Prince Terran, not from his perspective. We've had it from two different perspectives so far, and I really like that because you're seeing the differences in their tales, but also how both of them missed what is happening to Terran. And it's inferred, you have to kind of look for it between the lines, but it is there, and they both missed it. And it's horrible. And while it doesn't justify what he's doing now by any means, you kind of can't help but feel for young Prince Terran, like the child that he was, because it's awful. Whether that's actually fully going to get confirmed that that is what's going on, and whether Prince Terran is even going to say what, I don't know. But I'm enjoying those storylines. It does slow it down, which is why I think there's going to be some criticism on it, because it does slow the story down and it's not directly impacting Wei. But Wei needs to know these stories. She needs to understand Prince Terran and to be able to do what she's trying to do. And so I think it really works. I really enjoy it. I think I'm enjoying Wei's perspectives whenever we get them and seeing her character develop, the choices that she's making, the alliance that she's actually been able to make, I think could be an absolute powerhouse. I really like it. And then seeing the tales getting told about Prince Terran and slowly understanding what is going on and how everyone's just turning a blind eye. Like, it is, yeah, I mean, all of it. This whole book is really brutal. In Wei's perspective, it doesn't hold your hand, it puts it pen on paper, this is what is going on, this is what's happening. And there are some really just visceral scenes that just have you going, oh god, no. You know, especially like there was one with Bamboo, and it was genuinely like horrifying to see. You know, it really was brutal. And the way that everyone's treated at court, the way they treat each other, the way Wei's dealing with it all, it's brutal. But also there is like glimmers of hope in the things that Wei is doing. Palace servants, I guess slaves in this age, the way she interacts with them, being able to have them kind of on her side, which is really nice. Like I say, the alliance that she's then made. So you can see glimmers of hope, but it is brutal. And I think those tales of Terran, they bring a little bit of lightness because the people telling the perspectives, it's not as like visceral brutalness, but it's still there. It's just more hushed up in a way. I'm really liking it. I genuinely love how this is going. Currently, I would say this is also like a 4.25. I think depending on how this all comes together, depending on how the stories with Terran plays into what Wei needs to do, I think this could be a book that just lives rent-free in my brain for a very long time. Or it's going to end up as a really good book, very solid read. It's all going to hinge on that ending, which, you know, happens with most books, to be fair. But it is, I think this is really good. I mean, this is not what I was expecting. Based on the cover alone, I was not expecting a dark fantasy like I'm getting, but it really is. And I am loving it. I am loving the setting. I am loving just all of it. Absolutely all of it. This is really working for me. So to be honest, this is probably more like a 4.5 actually, because of how much I'm really enjoying. Like, I don't think I've had a point where I'm not enjoying the story. Even in those some of like slower moments, I am still heavily invested in this story. So yeah, I don't have long left at all. I think I've got about 150 pages and I can see myself finishing this one out really quickly because of how much I'm enjoying it. I do want to take it slowly because I do have this thing where if I'm really enjoying a book, I will read it so fast that I skip parts, which sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it is something I do, and I've had it validated. A couple of you in Discord also say it's something you do, so you know, validated, but it is. So I'm trying not to like rush read this one. Not that I'm rushing, but because I'm enjoying it so much, I'm speed reading it, which means I don't want to do that. I've been very good at like slowing down. I think it also really helps doing the updates in Discord because I'll get to a certain point and then I'll put the chapter I'm up to and then I'll put all of my thoughts, and that also really helps me be a lot more, accountable is not the right word, but just a lot more thoughtful with my reviews, with how I'm feeling about the book. It really gets me thinking about it. I think this is something I started trying to do and then just kind of stopped doing, but maybe just keeping like a little journal, or maybe even like, because I'm doing digital journaling, we're going to get into that. I'm having a lot of fun with that at the minute. But maybe just keeping like a document where I can just put in all of my thoughts, and then hopefully, one, it makes my reviews a little bit more concise on here for you, but also it helps me go through my thoughts and feelings of the book. And yeah, so it's been really helpful to do that with Discord. I think I'm going to carry on, is what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm enjoying that. But I do want to, so that I don't just like sit and just finish this all out in like a 2-hour reading spree, I'm actually going to start another manga series. Having the break and reading Wolfworm was exactly what I needed between the different manga series, but I'm now in need of something a little bit light. Between the Poet Empress and having that be a very dark fantasy, and then having Wolfworm, which is a horror, I need some lightness. So I'm going to go with Tammon's B-side. I'm so excited for this. This is actually a manga series that I started out watching the anime. I had so much fun with the anime. It is so ridiculous and silly. I really, really enjoyed it. And while I was watching it, I was like, oh no, I really want to read the manga as well. I want to see, is it very similar? Are there differences between the two of them? Like, that's what I want. So I have volumes 1 to 5. I'm going to do what I was doing with Apothecary Diaries and just read 1 volume a day or every other day, like depending how I feel, but I'm not going to like sit there and binge read it. I want to take my time with it. And I just think it's going to be great. I'm not going to say what this one is about because I don't know if there are differences between the anime and the manga, and I don't want to give away spoilers and things. So I'm just going to read this one and then I'll report in on how I feel about it. But I'm so excited. This was so silly. I loved it so much. I really, really did. So very excited to be getting into this one. And then digital journaling. So yeah, the last couple of days have been taken up with me dabbling in digital journaling. So I was really contemplating about, okay, how do I want to start keeping track of what I'm reading again and things like that. And I've done physical journaling for years, absolute years, but I've never really attempted a proper digital journal in the sense of like me creating it in the way that's going to work for me, like how I would with a physical reading journal. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this one a try. So it was a really good discussion on Discord as well, because I put in the fact that I want to try, what do people use? And that was really interesting. I'm starting off with Canva just because I know the interface, like I use it for like thumbnails and stuff, so it's easier for me to use something that I already have an understanding of. And I quite like it because I can just keep adding to it. It is really fun and easy to do. So at the minute I've got like a couple of pie charts keeping tracks of things. So like what I'm actually reading, is it a novel, a manga, a danmei, things like that. So that's really fun. I've also, I should probably actually add in ebooks. Like how many do I read as ebooks? I'll have to decide because some of the manga I've read as ebooks, so I'm like, do I add that into the manga section or the ebook section? I don't know. There's a few things I need to sort out. Like got a series tracker for all the series I have started this year, continued, up to date in, all of that. Except I was thinking about it yesterday and I was like, oh, actually I've not tracked what the series are in each of those segments. So say like with Apothecary Diaries, I should have put Apothecary Diaries in a series that I've continued this year, but have I? I don't actually know. I haven't actually like put in what series are where. I've just done a number. So I think I'm going to spend a couple days actually compiling something where I've got all the series that I'm actually and where I've actually done it. So some of them would have been DNF this year, some of the series I have finished, things like that. So it would be just good to have it all compiled, and then I can actually do videos around it a little bit better, plus easier for me to track. So I've just got lots of different things going on. I've also been updating all of the different bingo boards. So our fantasy, I have made very small progress on, but we're getting there. I'm going to be using Poet Empress for a square on our fantasy. So what I want to do is when I go to do my monthly wrap-ups is be able to talk about the progress that I made and all of the bingo boards and stuff like I used to. I really enjoyed that part of it, so had to get all of that updated. The horror bingo, I'm using Wolfworm for the nature planty eco square because yes, that was disgusting in there. So I've got that. The horror bingo is done by Sarah over at Wicked Reading. I'll have her channel linked below. Absolutely lovely person. So I've been updating all of those. It's just been lots of fun to do and have it all in one place. So I've been really enjoying that. I've also been updating Storygraph at the same time because I want it to be that I've got my own reading journal, but that I also have Storygraph. And on Storygraph, I have created, you know, like you can have a to read shelf. I have made that my physical TBR, which then made me realize I lied in the last video. So in the last video, I'm pretty sure I said my TBR was at like, maybe 76. Then I read Apothecary Diaries manga, so it dropped down to 72. Yeah, that's a lie. I was lying to myself. I forgot to add in, well, it's not even that I forgot, it's just that I didn't add in my classics because I just wasn't feeling them, and I'm like, I'm not going to get to them for ages. So something like the Odyssey, it's been on my TBR for years. I will eventually get round to it, but it's not like on my immediate TBR, so I just wasn't keeping it. I have this little thing here that my sister got for my birthday. It tracks how many books do I actually have, which is 564 physical books on these shelves, and then unread, which I've now put up to 76. When I was doing it, I was like, no, this can't be right. So I went around and counted it all, and I was like, oh no, yeah, no, that was right. I just didn't add them for, again, mainly because I was like, I'm not feeling it, so I'm just not adding them, which is honestly kind of ridiculous. But now we're all up to date, and it's just really good to do, knowing that it's all in one place. I think Storygraph is slightly off. Like there's a couple of like light novels that I was struggling to find, so I need to like look into that a little bit more. The books that I have read isn't quite matching the amount that I have actually read this year, but then some of that I did reread, so like I know some of the manga I have reread, and on Storygraph at the minute it's only showing that I've read it once. So once I add in those rereads and stuff, then that number should be the true total. So it's just been really fun. I've just spent the last couple of days creating reading journal to a point where I'm really happy with it, although now I add in series and stuff. Honestly, I think this is going to be something that I'm just tweaking like pretty much every week. And then also actually updating Storygraph. I do want to keep the two, and hopefully we'll see. If it goes well and I keep it up for the rest of this year, I don't know if I'll go back to physical journaling, maybe at some point, but at the minute I'm quite enjoying just having it all there, and I can just shift things around and do all of that without worrying about, I'm gonna have to like redo a whole page or something. I think I've rambled on for long enough. The reading has gone amazing. I think I'm probably just going to update once I've now finished Poet Empress. I think once I've done that, we'll come in and we'll update everything and wrap it all up. But it's been great. It has been so, so good. And I genuinely 100% put it down to the support that I have had from everyone over on Discord. And also thank you so much for all of your comments. My video, the mid-year wrap-up one, like Monday, so like 2 days ago, and the amount of comments that I have had from all of you is just, it's been absolutely lovely. Thank you so, so much for all of your support, for all of your understanding about the break and everything. Like it has been absolutely lovely. Like I was slightly nervous, and it has been so reassuring. Like it's just reminded me again why I even started this channel in the first place, and it is for the community, because genuinely I think this is the best community. So thank you just so much for all of your lovely words, your understanding. It's just, I feel so lucky, and it's definitely helping me feel very happy and confident again to get back to doing things. But anyway, right, I am waffling on. I do actually need to go do things. I need to have some food, get myself ready for work, you know, the usual stuff. But I will check back in when I have finished everything. Oh yeah, also, this, if we're wondering why there's no books, I'm going to show you actually. We now have Warhammer shelves. So this is my partner's, and then this is mine. Honestly, it's been so much fun. It's not something I ever thought I would really get into, but it's been good. I'm enjoying it a lot. Not that you probably cared, but just in case I got any questions, that is why. I have condensed all of the books down. I also was using this shelf for a plant, but then it was getting covered up by this bag. So now it's kind of empty. That's going to be another Tea Kingfisher shelf. Like, that will go back to having that. Anyway, I just thought I'd quickly show you. That is, you know, updates and stuff. I'm going to go. I finished The Poet Empress, 5 stars. 5 stars. This was so good. I genuinely just loved every minute of this, and while the ending absolutely broke me, especially that last chapter, I'm not gonna lie, I was just sobbing. It was so sad. It was also perfect. Like, I wish it went a different way, 100%, but I think it was the perfect ending for who Wei is and what she was trying to achieve. So yeah, 5 stars. I really, really adored this book. I think it was so well done. I don't have anything negative to say about it. Like, there is not a single part of this book that I would change. Like, I truly adored all of it, and I think this was phenomenal. As I was updating the story, my God, I don't know what it is, but every time I start talking in front of the camera, my voice starts going. I don't know, maybe it's just telling me I should actually maybe have a drink in the morning first or something, you know? Anyway, but as I was updating the Storygraph, I saw the rating for this book on Storygraph, and it's 4.45. Like, that is so high, and I can completely understand why. I genuinely just think this is a phenomenal book. One of the lower star ratings, because I was having a little scroll, one of the lower star ratings was because it's not really romance focused. Like, this is not a romantasy in any way. I don't know how it's been marketed, so I can't really comment to say that it's been mismarketed at all or anything like that, but don't go in expecting a romance focused story, because that's not what this is. But it is brilliant. Like, I would highly recommend giving it a go. Obviously, double check your trigger warnings, and if that isn't for you, then don't go near it. I loved this one. I will definitely be getting a physical copy. I'm gonna wait for paperback. I prefer paperback. They're easier to read, but also you can store more of them on your shelves. So yeah, I'm gonna wait for paperback, but yeah, this was just fantastic. Honestly, I did say that this could be an unexpected great read, and it was. And the fact that this probably would have been put to one side, like, I would have been one that I'm like, yeah, I'm interested, but when will I get round to it? And it probably would have taken me ages. I am so pleased that the buddy read happened so that I actually picked this one up sooner, because I would have been missing out on a 5-star read. Like, oh God, so good. Absolutely fantastic. I loved every single second of this. So, I mean, loved every single, that's probably not quite right, because there are some really brutal scenes in here, but, you know, I was captivated the whole time. Like, I was so excited to get back to it. I was constantly flicking through the pages. Like, it was just such a good time. So yeah, fantastic read. I'm so happy. And then I did read Talon's B-Side Volume 1, and this was 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. This is completely ridiculous, by the way. It is just nonsensical fun, and I really like it. So we're following Utage, and she is this massive fan for a band called Face. And, you know, they're quite new, full of young boys, and she is in love with Tamon. She has a part-time job as a housekeeper to fund all of her merch that she buys. She does this around school, and one day she goes to this house that she's going to be the housekeeper for, like, she's covering somebody else, and it turns out to be Tamon, and she is like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, she's having this existential crisis. What is going on today? I don't know if you can hear that, but there's lots of sirens. And Tamon, mortified, absolutely mortified, because his persona is this wild, sexy guy, and in reality, he's not really like, he's not his persona at all. And he's like, oh my God, she's going to think I'm trash. You know, he has this whole thing where he's gloomy horror. That is what Utagi dubs it as. I love gloomy horror so freaking much, but he is like, he's constantly thinking, oh my God, they're going to think I'm fake and all of this stuff. And she hears this and she's like, what? What are you saying about Tamon? Tamon isn't trash. How? Tamon is a god. And she goes on this massive tirade, and he's like, good God. Like, I'm sorry. Tammin is a god. Like, and he's like, no, wait, what is going on here? And it sparks this friendship between the two of them where she's able to really support him and remind him, you are Tammin. Yes, this is a persona that you're putting on, but the sentiment behind the persona is just that he wants everyone to smile. That's all he wants. He just wants to make people happy. And that is a true sentiment. Even when he's gloomy Hara, that is all he wants. And she's just like, you know, you are Tammin. You know, it's fine. And she just helps him out of these various different situations. And I absolutely love it. Like, it is utterly ridiculous. I will say the anime, really, really good. Because if you haven't read this, I then watched the anime, and this covers the first 2 episodes of the anime. They add in a little bit more into the first episode, which makes sense because you're kind of getting a little bit of backstory, introducing the different band members and stuff. Not massive differences, but just little ones here and there. But with the anime, there are certain scenes in the manga which are just so well animated. I don't know if I can get something where it's not like... I mean, none of this is really... spoilers, it's just fun. So like this bit, this is when she's going on her tirade saying, you know, Tammin is a god. It's just so well animated. This really does translate well. Plus the fact that you get their songs. So in this, you're not getting the actual songs from the band, but in the anime you do. So when Utagi's going to a concert, something like that, you've got the songs that they're singing, which I really like. I have the playlist downloaded. They're good. They're just good fun. I really do enjoy them. So I do think the anime is really good. So if you're interested in this, do give the anime a try, and then you can decide if you want to go into the manga. But I loved it. This was exactly what I needed. This is like the perfect palette cleanser for, you know, the horror book that I was reading, the darker fantasy, you know, this was perfect for that. So I'm so pleased I picked it up, and I am very much looking forward to reading the next one. I was actually going to read volume 2 yesterday. It just never happened. I was busy editing this vlog, finishing Poet Empress and stuff, so never got around to it, but definitely will be reading that very soon, maybe even today, because I do absolutely love it. So yeah, this was just so good. I really, really enjoyed it. And that just kind of wraps up a perfect reading vlog, in my opinion. Like, I have had the best time reading 3 2026 new releases and having everything be 4 stars or higher. It's phenomenal. So obviously we started off with The Last Contract of Isako, 4-star read, really liked it. I do firmly believe that if this was a series, even if it was a duology or just a longer book, it could have got up to that 5 stars, because I think Frondeli does amazing work with world building. So definitely this book has cemented Frondeli as a new favourite author, but I just think their world building is brilliant. Like, they really think through everything, all the little details. I enjoy the characters. Like, I just think they're a very solid author, and I will be buying everything they put out. I am so happy with this. So yeah, 4 stars. Then we read Wolfworm, which was our unexpected book of the vlog. But I'm so happy with this one, 4.25 stars. As we know, I really connected to Sonia as a character. The anxiety and overthinking, the way that was represented in here, I really connected to, so I really appreciated that. And then the absolutely disgusting scenes that you get. It was so creepy, so well done. Loved it. Really, really good. Very happy that I gave this one a read. Like, I'm just so happy that my library had it. Like, it was so good. And then of course we get into the three 5 stars. So we have the 2 manga, Apothecary Diaries Volume 9 and Tammin's B-Side Volume 1. Amazing. Knew I was going to love these. And then Poet Empress. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I genuinely could not be happier with all of the reading for this week. It has just been the perfect vlog to get back into vlogging with. Like, I could not have asked for a better time. This has just been so good. So yeah, I really did enjoy it. And thank you to everyone for buddy reading them on Discord. That has been so much fun. You'll have to let me know though, are you interested in reading any of these? Have you read any of these? Or what is a recent book that has just made you really, really happy? I would love to know. But that's everything for this one. The next video you're going to see me in is going to be the TBR for August. Really excited to do that one. And then the next reading vlog, I'm honestly not sure what I'm going to do for it. I've been toying between maybe a shop my shelves episode, maybe because, I mean, the library finds were so good that maybe do I just go to the library for the reading vlog and let my library decide what my TBR is going to be? Maybe. Or it could be something completely different. Like, I don't really know. I liked how I did this one where I just went with my mood. I wanted to read the books, like the book club pick and the buddy read that we had for Discord, like, so it really worked. So I think I'm gonna leave it closer to the time to decide what am I in the mood to film and just do it that way. But yeah, this has been so good. I'm so happy with everything. But yeah, this really is the end. So thank you so much for being here, for all of your support. Like, it really does mean a lot. I've already said it in this vlog, but I do truly feel so lucky to have you all, so thank you so much. But if you have enjoyed this video, then please do consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing and commenting. Those 3 things really help this channel out. My social media links, everyone I've mentioned, and Discord, everything is always linked below for you. And I will of course catch you in the very next video.